Good. Well, I guess it's not morning, is it? Wow, taking even a little time off has really thrown me off a bit. Oh, we're getting head pats, aren't we? There they go. Watch them lag me out a little bit. There they are. First head pats of the stream. We gonna get the bonk next? Anyone want a bonk? Do we want to double down on the lagging? Hello, hello. It's 1 a.m. in your country. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully, there it is. Hopefully you get some sleep soon. Welcome, 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 welcome. You know, I don't know. I might make it a permanent thing, or maybe we'll just make Sunday streams start late so that, you know, I can get a little bit of extra sleep. Hello, Aura5231. Thank you so much for the sub. Greatly appreciated. Oh, I forgot to launch my bot to read off all the alerts for me because I can't read. How has everyone been? Hello, half-eaten shrimp. I hope that you become either less eaten or more eaten. Did you all have a good day today? Anybody do anything super exciting or fun? Oh, really? You really want to start me off in this voice? That's what you want? I mean, I guess that makes sense, because I have my thing I can complain about today. And you know how much I love complaining. Absolutely one of my favorite things to do. So, are you ready? Oh, lasagna's so good. Okay, so I was talking to my mother today because, you know, I do that every once in a while. I like to check in on her, see how she's doing. Talk to her about once a week, just like I do with my father. And, I was talking to her about all the stream stuff I'm doing lately, right? And all the things that I want to see and I want to do and I want to get done. And then it turns out, while I was looking around, I took a little look at YouTube, because, you know, I have the TikTok thing. You know, I'm part of the Creator Fund on TikTok. I'm an affiliate on Twitch, and we're getting close to the partner numbers. But you know what I'm not? I'm not even close to getting partnered on YouTube. And apparently, according to some big brain content creators, you need to get onto YouTube and get yourself partnered with it, right? So I've only been doing shorts. Okay, without Googling this, how many views do I need? How many views do I need for just shorts? Thank you for the follows. I do always appreciate it. And hello, half-eaten Toothy. Thank you for the little wave. Oh, no, it's not 400,000. Nope, not 400,000 views. And by the way, you need to have this in 3 months. Take another guess. 3 months, you have to hit this view number before they'll even consider giving you a total number of views across shorts for 3 months. You have to hit this number, not 10,000. I've hit over 10,000 views. Nope. 10 million views in 3 months. 10 million views in 3 months to get partnership with YouTube. In 3 months. Now, if you do long form content, it's watch hours, and then you need to hit 4,000 watch hours in 12 months. Look, I'm not doing bad. I'm not doing bad on shorts. Don't get me wrong. But my highest video hit 100,000 on TikTok. My highest on YouTube hit maybe 10,000 at best. I could not post a video every single day getting 10,000 views for 3 months and hit that requirement. You need 1,000 subscribers is for a different thing. Completely different thing, Kirsty. That is originally to get your official affiliation with YouTube, where you can get your name, like your own URL, but they got rid of that. But yeah, it is 10 million views or 4,000 watch hours to get a partnership with YouTube. Yeah, and so I need to make long form content. The problem is, what can I do for long form? Because, I mean, ASMR is great, don't get me wrong, but ASMR does really badly on YouTube. They don't like it. And to get paid on YouTube, you need advertisements. And so for the advertisements, you have to put them in the middle of your video. Imagine if I did this. All right, so just lay down, close your eyes. And if you want the new dollar combo from McDonald's, please call us now, or something like that. Can you imagine that? I would have to put that. Yes, 4,000 watch hours for the last 12 months is what I said. Yes. And so it is 12 months, 4,000 watch hours, easy. And that's the thing of like gameplay, I can't do gameplay. You know why? This is what we do. I talk to you all, you talk to me, we goof around, we do stupid things. That works well. It does not do well in a video. So it's like there's I need to find something that I want to do. Maybe do something off stream, maybe do like an event. I was thinking, thank you for the stretch. You know, I was thinking, so I wanted to do some comedy ASMR bits, but those are 5 minutes long. And those get maybe 1 view for the joke, and that's about it. So yeah, a contest, I might do something like, you know, do an event with other streamers, see if I can get a bunch of people in, and which I appreciate y'all would watch. I mean, honestly, if I did an hour-long video, 1 a month, and 300 people watched it all the way through, that would hit the requirement. So yeah, and yeah, Crucy, I agree with that. Like, but that's the thing of like, I need to figure out something to do for that, because I mean, just gaming ain't gonna cut it. Just gaming ain't gonna cut it. So, if you all have ideas, bye Nelia. If you have any ideas, let me know. There's the Discord. You can hit me up there. Feel free to message me here if you're like, hey Gene, while you're playing this game, I had an idea for a video. Feel free. Maybe we'll do reaction stuff. But even my reaction stuff, I talk to y'all so much because I love you all so much. You're what makes my streams good. Okay. Do we wear sacrifice Neeks? Well, we could do a sacrifice Neeks, but there's only 1 video and it's not going to take 60 minutes. So unless people just want to watch it over and over again. VTuber stares at you for 1 hour. Katamia jokingly said, do a, I think jokingly, she said, you could just read the dictionary. And I'm like, you know, I could actually. That's how Mr. Beast got to where he is. Reaction to clips? Yeah. The thing is, though, I'm not that funny. So I'm occasionally funny, but I'm not funny enough to do that. It was a great idea. Okay, you know what? Bet. The first video is going to be reading the dictionary. Also, Lost Energy Drink. I bought it off of, look up stupid laws that's still on the books. Ooh, Crucy, that's actually a really good one. Crucy, could you put that in stream ideas for me? Sorry, at a soccer game. Enjoy your soccer game. Y'all are so goofy. I need to start getting a list of the weirdest places y'all have come to watch my streams. Some of you are like, yeah, I just started this church service and I'm gonna be reading as the pastor, but I have you on my phone underneath the Bible. Okay, Ocean, I hope you're doing okay. If you need anything, sweetie, let me know, right? You've been around for ages and you know I care about you. Okay, so we're gonna do our thing. Well, see, book reading couldn't work because they're, first off, they are like, I would have to get permission from the author to read them. And again, this falls into like that weird category of content that YouTube's not a fan of. Potentially I could, but I could do some like lore talking stuff, release a Christmas album. Honestly, that was one of the other things I was thinking. I could do song covers and I could do some books. Yeah, I could do really old books. But I think this is also the thing of like, one of the big things, what I post onto YouTube now is going to be what people are coming to expect from my content and my streams. And I know they're going to be different because, I mean, you see my TikTok, my YouTube, at least you still have my personality there in the shorts. But the YouTube. So we'll see. We'll think about it. Song covers I think would be fun, at least to throw in everywhere. Fan theories, Shakespeare. I forgot about that. I was going to do Drunken Shakespeare. It's funny. I like that. I was going to do Drunken Shakespeare. I wanted to get some voice actors or some goofy, like improv kind of people, give them each a piece of the script, especially people who have never read Shakespeare, and just do a reading. I think it'd be so much fun. Don't do that, Clover, but it'd be fun. You can't tell me that wouldn't be fun. Oh, don't do Wattpad? Yeah, Wattpad might be a little much. Exclamation point Discord. It is 18 plus, and yeah. Okay. So lovelies. I'm gonna go through our classic, little check-in maneuvers here. Please be patient while I read through all of these, because I love getting to say hi to every single one of you who check in at the beginning of the streams. Thank you for the head pats. Okay, so while I read this, we need something to talk about. What can we spam here? Favorite desserts. List off your favorite desserts while I read these, okay? Are you ready? I'm such a good doggy. List your favorite desserts while I read these. Okay, step one. Hello. Glitch, thank you for getting second. Danny Cat Gaming, thank you for getting games. Thank you for getting first. I saw you on YouTube earlier. And Solian, thank you for getting third. April or something. Hello. Dumpster Trash Fox. Hello, Bumblebee. Hello, Danny Cat. Hello, Tasha and Glitch. Hello, Amelia and Catherine and Annabelle. Hello, Xenix Pan and Sky the Walrus. Hello, Tequila, Unstable Raccoon, and Kitty Lover. Hello, Pebbles, Galaxy, and Full Metal Brook. Hello, thank you so much for the follow, Pineapple Fritters. Welcome to the menagerie. Hello, Lentia, and Serenity. Hello, Gay Frogs. Hello, Maddie. Hello, Wolfie. Hello, My Chemical Flame. Hello, Gibbets and Yoda and Sakona. Hello, Cotton Candy. Hello, King Hatchet. Hello, Krmia. Hello, Nuggets and Galactic and Marine Wife. Hello, Echo. Hello, Nelia. Hello, Kira and Halissima. Hello, Cat Fox, and thank you for the Hydrate King Hatchet. Hello, IDKMIRI. Marie, maybe. Hello, Rel Mavis. Hello, Kuriomi. Hello, Shadowy Destroyer, and Elijah and Zen Moon. Hello, Rainfeather, Misty, and Red Fae. Hello, Divinity Sparky. Hello, Siren. Hello, Kyoko. Hello, Sunny the Sunshine. Hello, Nuggets. Hello, Sif. Hello, Naptine. Hello, Dark Leopard. Luna Rain and Poison. Hello, Julia, Sleepy Sunny Poppy, and Silver Vang. Hello, Highland Moo. Hello, Nyx. Hello, Ocean. Hello, Unicorn. Hello, Asher. Hello, Moon Kitty. And I heard that. Ooh. Hello, Crucy. Hello, Bellatrix. Hello, Real Rabbit Wolf. Hello, Honey and Luck Shiki. Ooh, we're getting closer to the end of this one. Hello, Tasha. Hello, Elliptical Panda. Hey, Hi, Donna Poseidon. Welcome. We're reading off all the check-ins and we're saying hello to everybody who's checked in. Hello, Chicken. Hello, Nuggets. So thank you for the nerd voice. We ready to do that one. Hello, Julia. Hello, Half-Eaten Sushi. Thank you so much for the follow and welcome to the menagerie. Hello, Deshaun and Spell and Mods. Hello, Lila. I like that name. Oh, all right. We got the Southern voice. Hello, Pinky and Ruby Shipmao. Hello, Momu Mia. All right, Meow Kitty. Hello, Amber. Hello, Minerva. Hello, Celine and Uno Potato. Hello, Clover Plays VR Chat. Hello. Wait, I'm losing it. There it is. Fine. We're getting back to the whiny voice in just a second. You're going to have to wait for it, though. Hello, Useless Huntress. Hello, Alex. Hello, Butter. Hello, Onyx. Hello, Ela and VIP. Hello, Spooky Kaz. Hello, Alec. Hello, Sadie Batty. Hello, April or something. Hello, Snowborn. I think we're getting close to the end. Hello, Star. Hello, Cat Butt. Hello, Shadow and Daughter of Poseidon. Hello, Kimberly Kelly. Hikaru. And that is gonna be all of them. All right. Hello. Is that feet? Why do you got dancing feet emote? Who even has a dancing feet emote? Why is that a thing? All right. Fine. Let's see. So we have the whiny voice, and then we have the southern voice, so we can make that like that. All right. All right, everybody. We're going to be playing some lovely, lovely game today. And this is the whiny voice that was redeemed, mixed along with that little southern voice. And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to manage that. Why would you possibly want to mix this with Ara? Fine. Ara. Southern whiny, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst one of my voices when you can make me combination them. I think I'm going to make that one. Don't give me money for this voice. That feels dirty at this point. How much longer do I have on this dumb little voice of mine? Thank you for the stretch, and there. We are almost there, and it is done. Okay, thank God. All right, I'm putting the whiny voice on a cooldown. I can do it, but it gets to be too much sometimes, so we're putting it on a higher cooldown. I'm increasing it. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it before somebody redeems it again? Find it. Find it. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Tequila. Thank you, Tasha. And thank you, Dark Leopard, for all the bits. I really do appreciate it. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm back in a normal place. So, today, we're not going to be playing Slime Rancher. I will be playing Slime Rancher soon. But I found a game from a song. And I'm going to play you the song, okay? Here, give me a second. This is the song for this game. You ready? Wait.
Who is going to sleep with your wife? Grandpa. Who is going to chill?
Thank you for the follow, Ghostal.
Grandpa. Who is the guy that will put Triple S to sleep?
You want to see the trailer? You want to see the trailer before we play the game? It was crazy. Here, we'll play. Well, I'll show you off the trailer real quick. Okay, you ready? Who's that wandering through the trees? It's too. Oh, it's so big. Why is it so big? What happened here? What happened here? Okay, let's fix this real quick. Somebody broke this, man. I can't believe somebody broke this. Wild. Anyways. Are you ready? Here you go.
Who is going to sleep with your wife? Grandpa. Who is going to chill but kill if he has to? Grandpa. Who is the guy that will put Triple S to sleep?
I don't know what this game's about, but it showed up on my my TikTok multiple times so far. And so I felt like at this point, I kind of need to play it, right? I don't really have much of a choice. It showed up like 5, 6, 7 times so far. So, yeah. I also have a list of a bunch of other weird games that I will be playing sometime. But yeah, looks like it's going to be interesting. Now just start doing game reviews. Yo, this game sucks. Like, you know what game I didn't like? Goblin Cleaner. Couldn't stand Goblin Cleaner was okay, but I feel like it would have only been fun if I played with other people. Was not fun by it myself. It didn't clean enough, okay? There was not good enough cleaning. It needed better cleaning mechanics. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Also, because, some of you are new here, this is my lovely, lovely basement. And you might recognize it. Some of you do, and some of you don't notice. Fine. Oh, I can't. I took the big cup away. Ha ha ha. So, hello. This is the basement. You see the basement. Looks lovely, right? And then we just press this little button, and there we go. Hello. Good. Just got to keep you all locked in for the stream. I mean, come on. I can't. You seem like the kind of person to like chores. What? What do you mean I like chores? No, 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 no. What kind of insult is that? Come here, 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 come here. You know, I'm going to pull you in. Let me pull you in real quick. Give me a second. What do you mean? What do you mean I like chores? Why would I possibly like chores, huh? What does that mean? No, I hate chores. I like chore games, but I don't like chores, okay? I feel pain when I try to do something like laundry. Oh, okay, I like chore games. I like cleaning games, but I hate actually cleaning. I mean, I don't know. It's easy. Virtual cleaning, you just press a button repeatedly. It's not like in real life where it's like, oh, nope, this stain has sat here for too long. Guess who needs to scrub it for hours? It's me. Congratulations, Gene. You gotta suffer from the consequences of being lazy. Exactly. Chore games are like a reward. That's all it is. What would happen if one of us rage baits you? Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You're fine, Onyx. I'm goofing. Thank you for the check-in, Universal Loser. Oh, did the bot? Oh, no. It doesn't read check-ins. That's right. Anyways. Your laugh sounds like freaking Calaboca. I gotta go look up who Calaboca is. Give me a second. All right. Calaboca.
Calaboca puta. Calaboca.
Wait. Where's the whole song?
Calaboca puta.
Wait. Okay, and here's it slowed. Even the headband. Slowed is so much better. Oh! Does anybody write funk? Do we know anybody who makes funk music? Because imagine, intro song to stream is just funk. It would go hard. Imagine that's how we start stream. That'd be so cool. Anyway. Okay, I think it's time for the Crazy Grandpa game. We good? We ready? Everybody warmed up, ready, energized? Y'all feeling like we can do this game? Your boyfriend does? Tell him to hit me up, unless he sucks. Hopefully he's good. I do like though, the laugh of being compared to anything. That was a good thing to be paid for. Or not pay for it, to be compared to. We could okay, so wait, question about game. Can we buy as seen on TV products in insane measurements? The game we're gonna play today? What? I wasn't watching the video. Did it show game stuff? Okay. Also, I just saw Stevie 1989 MRE info guy, the guy who reviews MREs, has done a new one on 2023 Chinese type B self-heating food chicken wings ration, and we could play the game. Or we could watch Steve review an MRE. So what's your choice? Which one do you want? Do you want to play? Hi, I watched all of your TikTok videos in not a weird way. Queso girl. Really? Well, have I ever told you that if I were to ever kiss one content creator, it would most definitely be Queso. Not for any like particular reason or anything, but you can rage bait Gene as long as you buy him food, then tell him he's pretty afterwards. Yeah. Do we want to watch the MRE review video real quick? I would kiss Queso. He's such a nice guy. Look, all of his videos are fantastic. He's a wonderful dude, a great content creator. Like, why would I not want to kiss him? Okay, I will kiss men. I'll kiss women. I'll kiss anybody in between. But like, yeah, my kind is attractive. Kind people. Kindness is super attractive. Cause no clipping me try admitting to kissing Queso. The milkman, exactly. I don't know. All right, clip that. I'm an equal opportunity kisser, right? Well, we'll watch the video at the end of this, okay? We'll watch the video, the Chinese type B shelf thing at the end of stream as a little cool down, okay? That sound good? Maybe we'll watch other people's content to end my own stream. What's the question? But like, why though? Why would I kiss Queso? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Refund that. I'm not answering that. My friend heard you say that and said, I told you if there's a hole there. It's true. It's very, very true. All right, so where are we with this game? Game. I can't see. Give me a second. See, that's my dream one day. I need to become a large enough content creator so that when people see like my clips, it gets to the people I talk about. If I be like, oh, like this person is really hot, and I really like when they do this stupid thing. And then like the next day I see like 30,000 clips of people being like adding them, and then we get the response. Just give me a second. Where's the game? Okay, there it is. One day will be large enough. Thank you for the stretch. Okay, one sec. I'm looking. Oh, I still have to do the voice for a little bit longer. Y'all don't realize how long 2 minutes is unless you're doing a voice like this, and then you start realizing, can you adopt me? Everybody belongs to me. You all belong to me. You're not allowed to leave. What do you mean? Whether we're family or not, you are kidnapped victims. So either way, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it works. Okay, where are we? Game seems good enough with the volume. That looks like a good starting point. You would say 2 minutes. Look. 2 minutes is a long time when it comes to doing a voice. It's not a long time for a lot of other things. Grandpa. Hi on Retro. All right. Get ready, though, for like the next couple weeks. I'm going to be playing crazy games that just show up everywhere. Some of them are going to be awful. Some of them are going to be amazing. Some will be like 10 minutes long. Can I lick somebody? Don't lick, no licking. We're not starting the licking again. All right, you ready? Here we go. You all watch Kenji, right? Have y'all seen Kenji, the VTuber? He has a thing. Oh, it's a bit loud. One sec. Wait, what the?
Oh, this is life. What a beautiful moment.
You can lick a lemon.
Fuck. Please don't tell me I have to go to another funeral.
Quite the contrary. What about an adventure?
Nope.
He's smoking something.
What?
Please don't hang up. I'm the woman you keep staring during the whole DUI meeting.
Oh, I can't help myself when I see a gorgeous woman.
Yeah. Cut the bullshit. I'm calling you because I need your help. In the meeting, you told that
I want to talk,
military, right?
but I need to
Not
listen to
only
this.
In the military, I was a ranger, and that always attract women. Am I right?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I need a favor from you, but please don't ask why.
Wait, give me a
I like
second.
his hand clipping through it. Ooh. Getting high.
What the fuck?
Okay, continue.
I need you to smuggle me out of the U.S. I already have one of my guys going to pick you up in a purple van. And one more thing, the feds are looking for me everywhere.
I'm too high and too old for this shit.
I'm too high and too old for this.
I'm sorry, lady, but I'm not doing shit.
I will have sex with you.
Wait, what?
If you do this for me, I will sleep with you.
What's the color of the van again?
Purple, the van is purple. Fuck. The feds were listening the whole time. They will come for you. Move fast.
I'm on my way.
I love the voice
Charlie,
acting.
guns from downstairs and meet me at the door.
Okay, Grandpa.
Grandpa is fucking tonight.
You can post the clip just straight up in the chat right now.
Closely,
Just send the
what I'm
link.
about to tell you, turd. Tonight needs to go perfect, just like your grandma titties. Grab that shotgun and kill all the pigs you see. Your grandpa needs some pussy back in his life.
Oh, wow,
What
Grandpa.
what is this game? Oh. Yeah. All right. All right. We were talking about something before all this began. I was so excited to talk about it. My brain is gone, y'all. My brain is gone. I experienced whatever this was. Oh, Kenji. Right. I love Kenji has this thing on his stream where if you type in the word ads, it swaps with the emote that says, I want to be banned. Oh.
Shit, the feds are going crazy.
Is the game too loud, y'all? The game looks a little loud. I might lower it down a little bit. Tiny bit. Oh, good? Okay. Well, here we go. Wait, how'd I pull out the gun? Okay. Oh no, the game gave me no instructions. Okay, maybe one. Ah, we have a gun. All right, I'm ready. I don't know what this game is, by the way. I have no idea how this. Oh, game looks loud. I look at my my stream, and where it hits on there is what I respond with. Is this elderly Grand Theft Auto? Honestly, why am I? Where'd the cage come from? Where did the cage come from? Where did the cage come from? Where did the cage? No one can redeem the cage. You can't redeem it to make it appear. I have to physically move the cage. Where did it come from? I am so confused. Well, apparently we're keeping it on, but you know what I think happened? I think I alt-tabbed out of the game on accident, and I somehow clicked exactly on where the game is, the cage is, and then dragged it over somehow. So,
Princess!
all right.
I forgive you for eating my thong. Princess!
What the
Come
heck?
here, Princess!
Ah! Oh! What the? What?
Some
What?
delicious yummy snack! Princess! I forgive you for eating my thong.
There we go. I'm sorry. Gosh, she would not stop talking. You're saving for the maid dress? That's fair. That's totally fair. I understand. Okay. Amazing. You wish Gene was that good at voice acting when we go, Princess, Princess, I forgive you for eating my phone. Princess, Princess, I forgive you for eating my phone. Is that what I need to do? Well, they wouldn't stop talking, and they made me an old man with a gun. What am I supposed to do, not kill somebody? You're fine, I'll beat him to death instead, all right? I mean, I got this. Oh, my thong. Girl, if I can understand these people, that'd be a different scenario altogether. 10 out of 10, there we go. I got beat. Where'd my head go? All right, we're gonna try this again. All right, I got this. I'm a find them. Grandpa Gene here. New voice. I'm gonna do songs on the dong, 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 dong. All right. Grandson, what are you doing? All right. Grandpa's a veteran. That's too damn bad. Oh, pistol. Oh. Wait, I have two. Where's my revolver? Okay. Well, because Grandpa's on a lot of drugs, y'all. Grandpa is on a lot of drugs. That's why he is so cool. Ooh, boy. Yes. This is America, y'all. This is any street when I lived again. That would make sense. Yes. Where am I going? Grandson, I am so lost already. Can I just, you know, no, not that way. Okay. Maybe this way. No. America's not that bad, but you know, we have everyone gets a bald eagle. You're given a shotgun once you get your citizenship. It's great. It's great. You okay, girly? I'm just having such a great time. I'm so glad I found you on Instagram Reel and followed you on Twitch. I can't wait for the future coming. I'm so proud of you for making this. Aw, thank you, ZX. That's super sweet. I appreciate that. Yeah, no. But we are taught gun safety in every school, and then we are told to get into a shootout to find each other in the cafeteria. That's a lie. That never happens. But could you imagine? I will say, though, kids have gun safety drills in school. Not gun safety drills. They have shooting drills in school now. So, you know. No, but America's pretty great. I do actually enjoy living in the States. Did I die? Oh. A gun is my inheritance. Wait, is it actually? Did you know that you can get a birthright sword? Do you know what a birthright sword is? Have all of y'all ever heard of a birthright sword? This is very important. To me, at least. So a birthright sword, if you have a family that owns a sword, you can pass down the sword to the next generation. And then you can have, that's a birthright sword. The only way to really get a birthright sword is by somebody in your family forging a sword, or to win a sword in a duel. Hello, dog.
This hits the spot.
Or, yeah, and so the duel, though, you can duel. Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. One time I ran home because I thought it was a real alarm. Oh, that's awful. Anyways, what was I talking about? My brain just shut off. All right, I only know about this because there's this girl on TikTok who has a sword, and she has 2 swords. Or I think she has 3 swords, because she won 1 sword. She had a birthright sword, and then she won a sword and a blood feud, which is just winning a duel at this point. You can't actually kill anybody, but yeah, because we're all nerds and we all want a sword. Okay. Like, do you not want a sword?
Whoa,
Or maybe
don't
want to be a
take another
VTuber?
step. Are you the guys?
Young man, I suggest you
loneliness
lower your
mostly.
weapon if you want to go home tonight.
Yeah, you are them for sure. Get in quick. The boss is waiting.
Okay, but first we need to stop at the drugstore.
I can't do that, sir. She will kill me if we are late.
But yes, Queso.
Okay.
Queso,
the
not
boss
Queso.
will need to wait a little
Queso's
bit.
girl.
Fuck me, a lot longer. The boss will need to wait a lot longer.
Grandson, I'm really proud of you. Your mom will have been happy to see you.
Give me
Ease, Grandpa. Thank you.
Zesty.
Yeah. I'm just going
You
to
fight
wait
them and
inside
get
the
back here.
van.
caught me up. We'll get you a sword. Okay. I was thinking. Oh, Asher, that's so sick.
So, how do you know my boss?
The only thing
But yeah, I also like VTubing because I don't have to wear pants.
Find a drugstore before I shoot you in the leg.
Oh, come on! It's impossible to find a drugstore open at this hour. Where am I supposed to find one open?
Oh, there's a store open.
You better yield. 3, 2.
Sully, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear there.
You're a cranky old timer. You really need to relax and have a
Yoink.
blowjob or smoke some
I
weed.
don't want new kids. Less if it's coming from your boss.
Wait, what did you just tell me? Are you been awarded with the privilege to fuck my boss?
Yes, I am.
That is awesome! Her breast was sculpted by God itself, and the best part is that she has smooth curves to ride. I dream about her almost every night.
What is this game?
Keep dreaming.
Oh, cage time's up. This game is so stupid. Honestly, I'm.
Welcome to my drugstore. How can I help you today?
I did not understand a single word.
What is that
coming out of your
voice?
mouth. But where can I find the extra large condoms?
Ha! No extra large condoms for you, only extra small for you.
Don't test my patience. Please show me where I can
There's somebody
find
squeezing a
the
rubber duck in that car.
extra large condoms.
Oh, now you understand every word coming out of my mouth. Wait a moment. Anything else, my favorite gringo?
Nope, that's all. Wait, please add some energy drink and the Viagra as well.
I knew you had a small cock.
What any of this has to do with my cock?
What cock? Who's old? Grandpa Hell is not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow we'll give you a surprise visit.
No surprise visit tomorrow. Next customer in line.
Hello, Junior. I got you your favorite energy drink.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Wait, are you crazy? That will kill him!
It's quite the opposite. He always falls asleep without them.
That's exactly why you don't feed them that stuff.
Shut up, you little bitch, and tell me where your boss is located.
What is going on?
They captured her and put her in the basement of a building.
Wait.
Really worth it. Fuck it. Take me to that building.
I knew you wouldn't back
What?
down.
What was the
But to
point
enter
of
the
that?
building, you must go through the forest and
Why-
the back
what-
door. Are you still up to it?
Do you think I am a little bitch like you? We are doing this. Listen to me very well and very closely.
I mean, it's not a corn game
I
yet.
will not be going to tell you a second time. Don't cock block me.
My friend,
Speaking, okay,
you really need a doctor.
I need to talk
watch
about
my
this. I need to talk about this in just a
grandson
second.
while I
Is this
rescue your
Cruisy in 5 years?
Goodbye, champ. Grandpa needs to rescue a woman in that building right there. Please don't kill the van guy and finish your special juice, no matter what that guy tells you.
Okay, Grandpa.
Okay, so I was looking at a bunch of games, right? These sound like they're the TikTok voice filters. Honestly, I think they might just be TikTok voice filters. Okay, so I was looking at a game recently to play that looked really cool. It's a really short game, and it's called Waiting. It's like While We Are Waiting, I think is what it's called. And you like work in a diner. Oh shoot! You just stop shooting me. I'm talking. You work in a diner, basically waiting for the world to end, which sounds fun. And I looked at the company who made it, and it was like Something Sins Gaming. And I wanted to see, oh, cool, what other games do they make, right? You know? What other games could they possibly make? All of the other games they make are hardcore graphic porn games. All of them underneath the same game, like, the studio. It's like, it was just like something sex. No, the game that I'm talking about is a fully like 3D game, and the other game is like a fully 3D procedural sex game, and I'm like, why is it there? No, it's the game, like the first game, is just a chill game. Why would you advertise one game with the other game? That's what I'm wondering. Ah. First one didn't make enough money. That's fair. I'm not looking for hey, no. I'm not looking for those games. They just happen to be there. Oh, here we go. Where's this guy? Bye. I just thought it was funny, okay? I mean, I guess, like, no one said a studio has to make the same games. Well, no, I don't think people are understanding what I'm saying. Okay, wait. No. Here, we're gonna look at this game studio, and we're gonna look at the game, and that way you all can understand. We're not gonna show it off, obviously, but, while we wait here, okay, the studio's called Bad Vice Games, okay? And the games that they make, Bad Vice Games make, you ready? They make, Ravenous Devils, which looks like a murder people game where you cook people into stuff. Then they have Sexual Void, which is just a sex sim game. And that game, While We Wait, which just seems like a really cute game. So yeah, like, you can't be like, Gene, what are you looking at? Nothing. What's the craziest thing someone has ever said to you? Like, crazy, like, going insane crazy? Or are we talking, like aggressive? Because I've had so many DMs of people being, oh no, the one I had where somebody went to every one of my Instagram reels and was like, you know, most guys can't handle me, but those who can always want more. I'm like, honey, sweetie, this is an Instagram reel where I'm being goofy. Why we gotta make it like that? Yeah, and I ended up deleting those comments. No, I just hide them and delete them because I don't. That's not gonna be how you. If somebody's trying to get in my pants, I'm gonna be honest. This is not where to do it. Oh, they're not allowed in the basement. Obviously, they've been banned. I blocked them on anything.
What if she is in her period?
Yeah. Hi, RPG Goddess. How you doing?
This hits the spot.
Also, I have no bullets, by the way, so we just punch people to death. So that's the craziest thing. As well as plenty of people who just, like, keep DMing me, who are like, is this how we make friends? Is this how I talk to you and be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. Or, I'll fight. Punch him! Okay. Or the amount of people who just, like, DM me and be like, hey, come check out my video or live and stuff. It's like, why? Why do you think that would work? Gun! Finally. He was a fairy. There we go. Insta's bad. Insta's honestly one of, like, I don't know if there's, like, no moderation on that or what, but yeah. Your grandpa don't do enough drugs to be like this. You are now my mental state. Bet. You can be me. Chat, be me. Be me, 17. Teacher, rude. Fight her. Commit crimes. And see, those ones are bad, but like, luckily I don't get those as much. I just block those people. That's so dumb. Hello, I'm Gene, and I have decided to kidnap you. Congratulations on your new home. Grandpa, can we drop over here? Oh yeah, Meta did away with the moderation. Why? If I had $1 for every scam sugar daddy I got messaged by, I'd probably have enough money to be my own sugar daddy. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Yay! What's this?
Well, that was easy. Finally, I'm out of the forest.
Oh, give me a second. We're gonna... would I sugar daddy anybody else? No, I would not. I would just spend more money on myself. Actually, I would just quit my job. My goal is to just quit my job so that I can just make content all the time. And I can make cooler videos and stuff. Right now, you know, I'm stuck just, you know, having to be a boring, normal person and do this in my free time. Don't, why are you bonking me? Why can't I climb? All right, come on. There it is. I'm a normie. Become not evil Mr. Beast. Okay, I'm a little weird. I get that. I know I'm not fully normal. Ow! Chat. Grandpa broke. Grandpa broke. A little weird. Hey! No, I got stuck in that box. I honestly could not move. All right, here we go. This feels like old shooter games I used to play. There's a dick in a... Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look. If I have the option to shoot somebody in the crotch, I have to see if it'll do anything. There's one game I played where they would, like, get high-pitched and fall over if you shot them in the crotch. Find out. Oh, there's no ammo on that gun. Grandpa GT... Grandpa, are you okay? Don't look away from me, Grandpa. Grandpa, what's wrong with your Stop looking away from me, Grandpa. We have to address the elephant in the... Okay. Grandpa had a snack. It was called bullets. Oh, health back. Yay.
Fuck yeah.
Ooh, face hanger. The amaranth. What is up? Oh. It is a one-shot hit to the crotch, I think. Actually, I need to test this. We need to find somebody I can one-shot hit in the crotch. It's as important. Oh, do I have nades? Wait. What did I do? Wait, huh? Help? I'm such a good doggy, I guess. What? What did I do? How'd I get there? I'm such a good doggy. There you go. Help me! What? Where am I? Why Why is the game getting like? All right. Apparently, I need to do the whiny voice. So we're gonna be doing that now, okay? As it was asked for. Oh no, it's the sexual void. Oh no, it's the sexual void. I don't know what I did. It's still broken. No. How did I break this game? I don't understand what happened. I was doing so well at this game, and now everything's just broken. Gene, you're so pretty. Why? Okay, we're gonna try to go back in the game and see if maybe this will fix it, okay? Grandpa, no, you ate the wrong brownies. Wait, what chapter are we on? Maybe chapter 2? Oh, no, we passed that. I can't skip.
You know my boss.
I can't skip. Okay, we're gonna restart this game. We're gonna see if I can move it all the way to... Well, I'm doing the wrong voice. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Give me a second. And now we're gonna try level 3, okay?
Go, Junior. I got
there
you
we
your
go.
favorite energy drink.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Wait, are you crazy? That will kill him.
It's quite the opposite. He
All
always
right.
falls asleep without them.
That's exactly why you don't feed them that stuff.
Shut up, you little bitch, and tell me where your boss is located.
Yeah, about that. They captured her and put her in the basement of a building.
Is she really worth it? Fuck it. Take me to that building.
Here we go.
I knew you wouldn't back
Speed
down.
run.
But to enter the building,
Speed
you
run.
must go through the forest and the back door. Are you still up to it?
Do you think I am a little
I
bitch
didn't
like
kidnap
you?
her.
We
I
are
promise.
doing this. Listen to me very well and very closely, because I will not be going to tell you a second time. Don't cock block me.
My friend, you really need a doctor.
Just watch my grandson while I rescue your boss.
Nah.
Champ, Grandpa needs to rescue a woman in that building right there.
Come
Please
on.
Don't kill the van guy and finish your special juice, no matter what that guy tells you.
Okay, Grandpa.
3, 2. Speed run into a corner. This is the best animation I've seen. I know, right? This game's such high quality. It's amazing. Speed. They call me Mr. Speed. Your gun. I like your gun better. Thank you. Let's go. Ow. Can we get a dog? Yes, we can get a dog. We'll get a dog, everybody. Are we exclusively shooting for the crotch? No, why? Crazy. Why would I do that?
I need more of this shit.
We'll get a dog. I did say I'm approving everybody in the last video. What's probably. There's typos in most things I write. If you could look like any animal, dog. Dog. I want dog ears, dog tail.
This looked like a dead end.
I don't know, chat, if you could be any animal, what animal would you be? That or like a Galapagos tortoise. Can we get a snake? The snake will eat the smaller voidlings. There's too many of you that are small enough that you could... Ah! I don't wanna. I couldn't jump. It did that thing where it locks you in the crouch position, so you can't jump. Okay. Should we see if it does it again? Where even was that? I was stuck on a rock. Oh, crows are so cool. I love crows. Oh, Grandpa, stop breaking your legs. Look at that cake. You can bring your emotional support dog to the basement, okay? You can bring anybody into the basement. They can't leave the basement once they join, but, like, just know that you can bring more people, okay?
But I have to do this.
Pull out a gun, Grandpa. Grandpa, pull your gun faster. As long as the alien can watch my streams and interact with my content, yes. Remember, the goal is as many viewers as possible, whether they are alive or robot or alien or bird or dog or whatever. I like them. What if the alien can only speak and type alien? I will tell them, sorry, I'm gonna have to ban you if you keep talking alien. I was gonna say dead, but dead can't watch. What the? Yes, you can kidnap your entire school and bring them down to the basement. As long as Twitch counts them as a viewer, they can stay. All right, let's not let. What is he doing? There we go. Grandpa, don't get shot by the shotgun guy again, okay? Okay, he's gonna be around. There he is. Good boy. Look at you doing it, Grandpa. Look at you killing people. I'm so proud. Give it to your cat. Okay, I'm ready. Tell me when your cat has it. You ready? There you go. Did your cat like the stream? Charlie Brown adults, exactly. Convinced my friends to check you out. Did you convince your friends to check me out while I was meowing? You didn't. They didn't hear me meow, did they? Okay. Whew. Aye. Is that a type of deer? What's an aye? Hey, rabbits. Thank you. It was me. I'm the spooky cat, Kevin. Save the lasagna for lunch tomorrow.
Can make ooh. What if she is in her period?
Candied lemons are so good, and so are candied oranges. I've made those before. Ow! Let me knife you. Didn't work. We can have a city raccoon. Yes, we can have a raccoon from the city. But it has to be a city raccoon. I don't want any of them country raccoons coming in here, okay? Fine, you all can make a little bet. Humana. Yes. Humans made lemons. They domesticated it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but so am I, so I'm just like a city raccoon. You're very, are you sure? Are you sure? No. You know what they say about the country? The country folk are kind, but not nice. Or nice, but not kind. I can't remember which one of those. All I'm saying, a lot of times you go to the country, people are like, oh, come in, I'll treat you so sweetly. And then it turns out that they're talking crappy behind your back all the time. You know, Southern hospitality. Jump, Grandpa. Bless your heart. No, okay, can we find this building? What are we counting as country? Who knows? Can we make the basement bigger? The basement continues to expand. This is not by design. The basement just keeps expanding, and I'm a little worried. No. Y'all don't understand. I am half country.
Well, that was easy. Finally, I'm out.
All right. I guess we're gonna be Southern for a little while. I mean, there are plenty of Southerners who are lovely, lovely people, and there's plenty of Southerners who are a bit, you know. What do you mean I ain't half Southern? I spent half my life down in some parts of the South and Midwest. European. We're taking over your home? You ain't taking over nothing. CP. Y'all, I wish Southern. Why are you taking? Y'all, I eat chicken gizzards. I eat chicken and dumpling. I eat fried squash and pig's feet. I've been to church most every day of my life growing up, and I don't go now. Chicken gizzards are so good, ain't they? Yeah, deep fried squash.
This hits the spot.
No, tell your pit bulls outside. Yeah, ain't that? I love that. I love that they keep them floppers, short of snouts, and all that jazz. Favorite drink? Sweet tea. Genuinely, I do love me some sweet tea. And some proper sweet tea. I mean, you gotta make it right. If you put the sugar in after it's cold already, then it ain't sweet enough. Everybody knows. The very basics. You can't add enough sugar to it. I love sun tea. I love sun tea. You know, I told somebody about sun tea the other day, and people were like, that ain't a thing. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
I need more of this shit.
European. I get that one. Sun tea? Google it. Have I ever had a deep fried Twinkie? I have not. I don't know if I ever will. Did you know what's crazy? Do you know that Twinkies are made fresh every day? That Twinkies are an actual baked good product. They ain't any sort of like snacky food. I have had a deep fried Oreo. I have had that. That was pretty good. Somebody explain what sun tea is. Twinkie is a sponge cake full of cream. Deep fried butter. Which I don't understand how you can have deep... Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I don't know how you can do deep fried butter. Oh, I actually have edible cookie dough on my desk right now. I made edible cookie dough before stream because I wanted something sweet. Has anybody noticed I've exclusively been shitting them in the crotch?
Hits the spot.
Nobody's made any comments on it. I wanted to see if anybody noticed. I've only been shooting them in the crotch. Good, good, good. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. My bad.
Fuck.
Really?
I left my weed in the van.
I'm sorry. I didn't know a few questions asked. We've just been talking about other things. I did? I don't remember that. Okay, give me the pistol. Is it a bit concerning that I don't remember things I said 3 seconds after I said them? Why can't I live without streaming? Genuinely, I could not live without streaming. I've tried, when I was on my little like hiatus from streaming, it slowly was driving me insane, and I feel like not as enjoyable as a person when I don't stream. I just like, I get everything I need out of this. I get a satisfied creativity, I get my social connection, I feel like I'm achieving something and growing and just so much. Love streaming. So yeah, all of you. I need all of you. What's going on here? Oh, thank you for the bonk. Oh, there it is. I know it's been a while since anybody mentioned the safe word. Is there a way to be effective lazy person? Yes. Because, so you first have to understand exactly what being lazy is. And then you have to kind of also decide, you know, to force yourself at a certain point to do a thing that you enjoy. Bye-bye, enjoy your gumbo. Like this. And you have to do it every day. I stream every single day, because if I ever stop streaming, I probably won't come back to it. Yeah. Figure out a way to get past it and find something that you enjoy doing and make it so that you can do everything all the time. What, that if I ever stop that I will never come back to streaming? Yeah. And honestly, laziness often is just ADD. Because, I mean, laziness I think would be going out of your way to not do anything ever. But just not wanting to do something or being unmotivated, you have to realize that it's not, like, motivation is not something that you can rely on. You have to rely on discipline, and then you rely on habit.
This hits the spot.
I will always come back. Yeah, no, I'm still headshotting. Y'all, I'm still shooting them in the head. I get a headshot every time. Depending on what head you're talking about. You don't have to worry, I'm not gonna stop. My goal is still to make this a full-time thing, and eventually it might be possible. I mean, we're getting closer and closer and closer to making this a full-time thing. Like, this is all I need to do one day. This feels like an old game. 'Cause, I mean, I swear games used to just be this. You just walk around areas, you shoot things, and there'd be occasional bits of story. Where are you going? Where's this guy going? Ow! What man runs across the map and then just shoots me? Sun tea is very tasty. Thank you for the head pats. Appreciate it. Like the blood. Ah! His head is lemon shaped. Can we get pink lemonade? Oh, I love pink lemonade. What is the thank you for the hydrate. What is the flavor of pink lemonade? What is pink lemonade flavor? What is pink? Yeah, no, it's pink. No, but it's pink. You get a chocolate fountain? No, no chocolate fountain. Flour? What flour? Ooh, Gibbets, tell me the story. Gibbets, tell me the story. I want to hear. How many head pats? There's not too many head pats. It just would be overstimulating after a little while. There we go. But why make it pink? Why make it pink? Pink lemonade circus ran out of water to make lemonade with it.
Is going to stop me from getting laid.
That's amazing. I love that. Pink tight water. Y'all, I'm gonna. That's what my next my big merchandise is. It's gonna be jean tight lemonade made with jeans tights. I don't wear tights. Pink gamer lemonade. Gamer girl, gamer. Welcome, Neon Jester. Gamer boy lemonade. I mean, people are gonna be worried about Gamer Boy Lemonade. I think I need a better name for it. Because that gives other implications.
I need more of this shit.
You buy it low-key just to support? Okay, don't buy a product I'm selling just to support me. Buy something you want, okay? Ooh, bring me some tea. Wait, really? That's cool. Okay, but if I do sell something, I'm gonna sell more than one merchandise item. If it doesn't sell, then I know to make a different merchandise item. You should buy only the things I make that you want. Now, when I get sponsored, that's a different case. Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to support me and you want to just...
They can stop me.
Finally! If you want to support me, and you want to... You can just, give me money. Donations are always an option. I also want to get a plush of me, though. Just a paint job. Oh, shoot. Make jewelry? I might also make a scent. We might get a cologne and perfume. Okay, so you can, if you wanted the maid dress, there's a point redeem. If you want the maid dress the entire stream, it's $50. Yeah, well, also, so here's the thing. If I do get a plush made, I would also do giveaways of the cologne with it. So you can have, like, little cologne samples with, the plush. 100 for 2 streams? Yeah, actually. If you give me $100 for 2 streams, I would totally do it. Yeah, or like, you know, body pillow or something, because I know somebody's gonna want the body pillow. Eventually. Ah. Jeez, they do a lot of damage. You want high... I don't know if we can make a 6'4" body pillow. Let's go to the restroom. Gotta pee. I will see what they'll let us do. By the way, it would be like the pillowcase. A pillow wouldn't come with it. It would probably just be the pillowcase, so you'd have to provide your own pillow. So if you can find a 6'4" pillow... You know the pillow has to be bigger, right? Because, like... So it would have to be a, like, 6, 7... pillowcase. Have you seen the one of that snake girl from that Sorry. There it is. Get a long pregnancy pillow. Yes, it would be. Oh, okay. Congratulations, you did it. Congratulations, you did it. There you go. How much do I donate for the maid outfit? Yeah, $50. Michael's and Walmart sell pillow stuffing. You could just, yeah, no, you could just do that. You could just get the pillowcase, stuff it with pillow stuffing, and then sew up the bottom. 100% could do that. Zipper bottom. Zipper bottom. All it needs is a zipper bottom, then you wouldn't have to sew it, and you could just put stuffing in it. We're trying to bang somebody. Apparently. I don't think there's not been much of a plot. 6'3". Yes.
Why this event is so
I would
fucking
honestly
long.
like I would collaborate with a lot of people. I have so many ideas for so many things that could be made. Everything from dog collars, just jewelry pieces. I want my bisexual rings. Zipper bottom. Yeah. Where? How would you even get the name Zipper Bottom? When'd you get the name Zipper Bottom? I hate the shotgun guys so much. They're so annoying. Okay, walk me through it, Gibbets. How do I become Zipper Bottom? Well, okay, no, sorry. By bi rings, I mean all bisexual men wear a bunch of rings on their fingers, not bisexual rings. Though I would not mind having queer merch, especially like represent yourself kind of merch. I would be a big fan of that. Maybe. You know, I like the implication that you thought I was saying, oh, I would only get rings for bisexual people. They would only represent bisexual people. That's the only people I want to represent. I could totally for Pride Month get Pride merch. And then we do a donation. Oh, we could do a charity thing. Okay. Do I think? Okay, so we could do Pride merch. I think that'd be really cool is to have a the plush, but have like patches made specifically for the plush so you can add your own plushes. Right? So like plush customization, because the voidlings are going to represent all of you, and there's 4 houses. So yes. Yeah, I will probably do a VR chat meet and greet, though. So that will definitely end up happening. Oh yeah, each of the voidlings... So the voidlings will have 4 houses that they can join. Each one has a personality trait that goes with it. Kind of like, you know... So... Anyways, Oh, there's straight pride too. I mean, like, I would not mind having like a ally pin or something, or just, you know, have merch that doesn't have anything on it as well. So the houses are based on the card suites: diamond, club, spade, heart. So that would be cool. And then there's going to be a test, you know, you can take, you know, like the classic, oh, what blah blah are you, to decide which of the houses you belong to. Void links come in 2 colors. We're still working on the art for them. We might go back to the original color scheme because unfortunately there will eventually be comics, and comics are often in black and white. And if I did the red and black ones, you wouldn't be able to see the red ones because they would just be the same dark color. Thank you for the stretch. And also, the red ones look like blood, so they might just be black and white like we had initially planned. Where am I going? I am so lost. Make the covers color? What do you mean make the covers color? What does that mean? Exactly. He forgot his life alert. I've fallen and I can't get up. Make jewelry. People who make stuff are so cool. This is going on for a long time. Y'all, is anybody else just like really... I mean, I'm enjoying... Okay, there she is.
It looks like someone is tied up.
It's about time you show up.
Your
It's an old lady.
dumbass assistant drives really slow.
Either way, thank you for doing this. I was starting to worry. You got scared of the feds and lied to me about your military experience.
And why I would do that?
I don't know. That's much better.
Possibly.
Come on. Let's get you out of this place.
Wait!
What are you doing? We have to go.
Your military experience was true. Let's see if your other legends are true. I'm giving you what you came here for.
Jesus.
Oh, God bless America.
Grandpa's back.
That...
Grandpa's back. Take your grandma.
That...
Guess who's back, 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 back. Tell your grandma, 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 tell your grandma. Hold on, dummy, take a hit.
Wait, I have to tell you some deep shit. Thank you for getting me laid. Because, I don't know if you noticed, but I did not had any sex for a while. And you better leave a good review.
That's it? Okay, well... hi, Moo Moo. How you doing? that. Okay, well, we completed. I've completed several games. Everyone's always like, "Gene, you've completed games. You've."
Evaluating your son, I've noticed that he processes information and learns in a way that's different from most children his age.
Are you telling me my kid is stupid?
Not at all. This doesn't mean he's stupid.
Then what are you saying? Because it sounds like you are saying my kid is stupid.
Trying to say that he has unique neurological or cognitive challenges that may require specialized support.
You hear that, Charlie? She just called you stupid.
Okay, Mom.
But I'm not saying that your son
Hey!
Shut up, bitch. I won't be sitting here listening to you to talk shit about my boy. Unless if I'm fucking paying you.
What?
Oh shit, Mom, what did you did?
Charlie, I need you to understand something. You are the brightest and beautiful boy I've ever seen, and I'm proud of being your mother. But listen to me. You always, but always have to stand up for yourself and make them eat bullets if they tried to make you look like a fool or do you wrong.
Okay, Mom.
What did you do? What?
What the actual fuck? And what happened to your mother?
She is in jail right now. That's why I'm with my grandpa.
Wow. Your family is crazy. Wait. I think I see your grandpa. What he's doing?
I believe he just had sex.
No fucking way.
Who is going to sleep with your wife? Grandpa.
What is what?
He has to. Grandpa. Who is guy that will put your grandma to sleep? Grandpa. Grandpa. On retro. On retro.
What the?
On retro. On retro.
Where are her clothes?
How do you do, fellas?
We had a deal. Where's my boss?
Shut up, little bitch. Your boss is in the building safe and sound. Oh, and she might need a wheelchair.
Oh, fuck it. I am coming, boss.
What a little bitch.
Hey, Grandpa, I need your help.
Hello, champ. What do you need my help with?
Is this game still going?
The Brookhaven Hospital?
Did you get shot?
No, but my girlfriend gynecologist appointment is in a few minutes.
Of course I will help you. But let me give you
What is
some
happening?
advice. The
How's this game still
difference
going?
between a lawyer and a prostitute is that after you die, the whore stops fucking you.
Oh, come on, Grandpa.
On retro.
What?
On retro. On retro. On retro.
What's wrong, doctor?
I'm sorry, guys, but your girlfriend...
Why are we still here?
Pregnant. Her body has an army of bacteria that kills all sperm before reaching the egg.
Oh, that's great news.
Oh, come on, Grandpa. This is serious.
Yes, please help us, Grandpa.
Doctor, is there something we can do to help?
Well, there's one thing. You need to smoke this weed so you can shrink and travel to the cervix. Here are the guns, guys.
What for?
You need it for protection. Remember, there's bacteria inside her vagina.
Fuck yeah.
This is real medical science. We gotta smoke the weed to shrink down to get inside of his guy. Did we smoke the weed? Am I going? Wait, is it where we? I thought we're done. No, it's still going.
Oh shit, it worked. Hey Charlie, did you? Charlie? Fuck. How big this place can be.
Well, we still have 20 minutes. We have an option. Do we play this or do we watch the doctors say it's real? And do we play this or do we go watch the Chinese MRE review? I kind of want to. Okay, you know what? We'll play 10 minutes of this just to check it out. I want to see this for a little bit, and no, we're gonna watch the Chinese MRE review. I want to watch the Chinese MRE review. We're stopping this. Coming back to this later. We have to stop. I want to learn about the Chinese MRE review. Yeah. Yes, we'll come back. I promise we'll finish up this game another time. But I really actually do want to watch this. I will talk over the entire thing, don't you worry. Where is the Windows capture? Boop, 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 boop. I'm curious to see what this one is. Because it's chicken wings and ham fried rice. How are you going to do chicken wings in an MRE? Like, there's no way this is good at all in any sort of way. Because have you ever reheated chicken wings? Have you ever reheated chicken wings in your life? They are never good. As good as when you got them. Like, you have to throw them into an air fryer or something to get them back.
This is a Chinese People's Liberation Army Type 20B self-heating
right?
food. Menu number 5. It weighs 1 pound, 10.6
So how are they going to do it in an MRE?
5 grams. And it contains 1,231 calories for the menu. Breaks down to 53 grams of fat.
I'm so excited.
Grams of protein and 177.4
volume's low
of carbohydrates. 24-month shelf life. And for when they aren't having hot meals, they're gonna have
single-use air fryer.
Check it out.
Oh, if they could make a single-use air fryer, I would get one in an instant. Imagine just. Y'all ain't got an air fryer in your MRE? What?
Meals most of the time. This is almost like emergency food. It's like last resort.
He's talking about how they usually do fresh meals.
Last resort, it's just bars. In case you're right off the
All right, so we're going to be doing this voice now for this one.
The main, already in the FRH bag. And
yeah, you just need a blow dryer and some tinfoil. You take a little case and go.
Here's a bar, some kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could be dehydrated or something. I'm just
egg drop soup.
I don't know.
Is what that is.
I don't have an idea of how this one.
Okay, let's get the rest out. Here's a 30-gram cereal bar.
Why is there a cereal bar involved in this?
This is a chicken wing with sauce. That is
one
retort pouch chicken wing. It could be the meat of chicken wings.
There's one chicken wing.
Entire chicken wing, shelf stable. Might even be a couple.
Oh, unstable! That was so cool. I love Cowboy Bebop.
Grams.
Nerdy and whiny.
And this is
who knows?
60 gram.
I don't know if I could do the two of them. I could definitely try. Even that
pouches. Oh wow! Look at
pickled
this.
radish.
They gave you 2. It's a miss pack where they gave you an extra here. And see that? That's the first time I've ever seen it with this. It is your water container for the flameless ration heater. You fill it up to the line.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Measurement every time. And that is a 13-gram pack of freeze-dried mango.
Oh, mango goes hard though. Could you imagine that? So just in time, what a great day. Yeah, you got this.
This is a 30-gram.
Why don't you like mango, Carmia? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with mango?
And here's your pack of heating elements for your FRH.
The voice is giving Serpentius.
It's out on the tray. Nice. Okay, let's first start off by checking out that main.
I really want to see this. I actually really want to see this one.
Bag. Saving on space. Let's check out this main. That is 330 grams of clay pot rice. Let's get this back into the bag.
I'm actually kind of excited for this.
There's a little gusset on the bottom.
Yeah, freeze-dried mango could be interesting.
Oh well. Here.
You're welcome, Butter.
Heating element. Nice little hiss. Vacuum sealed. Can't go wrong. That would last.
I want to fast forward through this, but like,
really,
I'm working my patience right now.
Good shelf life to it. At least the 2 years it's rated at. I bet you it lasts longer.
2 times speed.
Yeah, for each at least.
Here, we're gonna do 1.25
on the other. You really want to always do both FRHs.
Okay, mango tastes like.
You won't heat up well enough.
A
These
gooey.
things are designed to put both of those FRHs in. You don't skimp on water.
Does anything taste like mangoes?
It needs about 2 ounces.
No. Does any other fruit taste like mango?
Quite the allocation of water just to heat the main.
Oh, thank God. Okay, we're gonna do 1.5.
Than USMRE in that regard. But
I'm glad we're all ADD enough.
Yeah, that's more like 3 ounces. Let's go for it.
Yeah, mango just tastes like mango. It's kind of hard. That's like a mango? Yeah. So like a mango is like a mango if you mangoed. It's a citrus fruit.
Check out some freeze-dried mango.
But it's the consistency that really makes it, because it's like a really
nice
gooey
dust on the
texture in a
bottom, so it can
way.
Stand up on its own. Not sure why, but hey, it's there. Whoa, look at those buttes. Let's get that silica packet out. That is very aromatic and natural. Sweet, fresh mango.
Oh, like I guess kind of like peaches in a way, because they're similar to that, but not peachy.
Fruit.
Like just the inside,
cake.
like the gooeyest part of a
Dessert
peach, except no. Apricots in a way, maybe, yeah.
Is that whole grain?
Like peaches, but awful.
A silica packet on it. Looks like a soy oat crisp bar. With
Can you have
rice,
fake mango
puffs,
flavors?
and
Yeah,
chocolate.
yeah, you can.
It's like a granola bar. Very mild chocolate smell. Then the other
I
one.
love those. I love those kind of bars where they're like super dense and chocolatey. I used to love like
wow.
protein
Look at
bars,
this.
but like not modern protein bars.
That is like a.
He does. He actually
Oh,
eats
yeah.
this.
That smells
we,
like
we,
butter.
we get we get a
Just
real
pure butter
taste.
and, like, it's like a shortbread bar.
He
Like a
eats any of them
shortbread
that are
grain
like
bar.
within
Here, broken half.
edibility.
Let's get that silica packet out. Oxygen absorber. Here's one half.
It's poor
Here's the
colon.
other. Very aromatic butter smell. And here's what it looks like in whole form.
Oh, I would eat that.
Pickled radish.
I kind of want to see his pickled
Not
radish
much
though.
calorie content with this. It's your vegetable with vinegar, vitamin C. It's all about nutrition. This ration's got it.
You can see how like used to he is to doing these,
That
because the way he rubs on the
That
edge to
smells
try
like
to push it down.
It
He's
smells
like, this is
like
what he does.
cabbage.
It's all he does.
Oh, look at that. A little red pepper in there. Savory and a little like a fish sauce maybe.
Oh, that does not look fun.
Egg drop soup with wakame.
Oh, I was looking forward to that.
Wow, it's like a freeze-dried soup square. Like a soup
Oh,
bar.
nectarines used to be my
Look at this, you
favorite.
probably
I would
eat
eat them
that
all the time.
just as is.
Nectarines and mandarins.
Here, let's take a little bite. There's a crispy, salty, savory with like onion and vegetable bar.
That looks
is
kind of good.
One of the most delicious things I've ever eaten. It is like a freeze-dried salad bar.
Oh, it's a soup? Oh, it's a soup bar.
Wow.
Y'all, oh, I guess we can actually, I don't need to pause this. I used to eat
that's it.
mandarins
That's it.
non-stop, and
this
nectarines, I would
black
eat them all the
runner
time. Like, my parents would get mad at me because we would only have them for like a day, and I'd just be
Dynamic
scooping them up and eating them. Let me make it a freeze dryer, Carmia. You don't let me have any fun. I could freeze dry everything. I'd make freeze dried
Just smells like
candy.
beans. And then this thing, the chicken wing.
Okay, I'm so upset this is one
Ooh, it
chicken
smells like
wing.
chicken. Here. Oh my gosh, retort pouch chicken wings. I don't know what to think of that really. The gelatin, it's like chicken in a can. It's kind of terrifying.
Oh, it looks so bad. Oh,
Here, is this
it
whole
looks
piece
so
of meat? Is there
bad.
bone in there? Let's find out.
Oh, it looks the
Maybe I
worst.
should put it in the retort pouch. Is there bone in that? There is. There's bone in there. Look at this. That is insanity. Look at that. There's a bone in there.
Have
That
you
is a
had mandarin?
retort pouch
Yes, I
chicken
have. I
wing.
have had those Doritos. Or whatever. No, I
Let's
guess
try
it's
out this
Doritos.
gelatin.
No, don't. No. Put it in the heating element. The heating.
That is definitely some cold chicken wing out of a pouch with gelatin. There's not much flavor. It's just a kind of salty, savory, not too flavored chicken.
Why?
And, like, fresh and technically edible. I mean, it is protein and
I waited all that time for this. I don't care about any of this. He didn't even put it in the heating element. Hurritos. Like toast without the T. Hurritoast. Because I hate gel. I hate when things get gelatinized like that. But obviously it should have been in the heating element. Why would you not put that in the heating element? It was the one thing that I was wondering how they were going to heat it. And he was just like, no, I'm not going to heat it. Really? Hate you now. We're going to go look at these White Castles.
White Castle
Let's look at these
actually
instead. This is
still
better.
today uses a tank. They would rehydrate dehydrated onions, throw this onto the flat top. If you poke holes in the burger, it would actually help to steam the burger. 5 holes. White Castle then takes the patties and they put them onto this bed of onions.
This is true.
The buns, they peel the bun, they put that down on top of the raw patty, which I think is very strange, but trust me, this works. So what's happening right now is this environment of onions and beef grease.
So good.
And
It's
water
so good.
That is steaming the buns, steaming the burger patties. Comes off like
it's
that.
so interesting. It's
See
like
that?
steamed meat.
The
You don't
bun
think about it.
goes underneath, pinched. Yay, it's hot. Yay, hi. A very tiny piece of American cheese on top. Mustard mustard underneath. And then a pickle. Oh,
He's trying so hard.
It's a White Castle
Hi, can we
slider.
get a shout out for Keeper? Keeper's a lovely friend of
We did
mine
it.
and incredible.
Ready to make a White Castle
please go
slider?
check them out
White
sometime.
Castle actually.
Okay, I want to tell you all an interesting fact I found out. So McDonald's McDoubles use rehydrated onions in a very similar way. If you're allergic to onions, you can eat those. You can eat rehydrated onions because it kills the thing that people are allergic to in onions when you dehydrate them. And so if you like onions a lot, which apparently my friend had a friend who really liked onions, just absolutely needed, like he wanted that so badly. And so they ended up buying their own like container of dehydrated onions. Can I get a dehydrator? Carmia, can I get a dehydrator, please? I want to make jerkies. Can what if we like dehydrate? Please, Carmia, you don't let me have any fun. What about a 3D printer? I am a man. I deserve a 3D printer. Do you not understand? As a man, I should be allowed to have a 3D printer. All men should be given a 3D printer at birth. I'm putting it on throne. Build your bookshelf. I don't want to build my bookshelf. I've had it for like 4 months now. Fine. I'm putting dehydrator. I'm putting a dehydrator on my throne. I'm putting on a 3D printer on my throne. I'm just gonna put stupid things on my throne. The thing that I really want off my throne, though, are Uber Eats gift cards, by the way, because they're the highest chance of them actually arriving, and they're like the cheapest thing to crosspoint with that. You deserve the world. Oh, thank you, Red Faye. There's been a few times though where I'm like, if I had a 3D printer, my life would be slightly better, because like anything that I want, I could just make. Like half of these things, I get these cheap little plastic crap that I could print. I'm so responsible. I have not built the but you wouldn't. Well, would you look at the we still have 6 minutes. Fine. You're right. I don't like that you're right, but you are. Automatic cookie machine. Anyway, sorry. As a man with a 3D printer, exactly. I'd make like 3 things with it. I would spend $1,000 or $300 on a 3D printer, and I would print like 3 things, and that's worth so much. You know, I would print like 5 things with, you know. Wait, army steak? Wait, we're watching this
Today
one.
we're tasting military food from every country in the world. We tracked down the craziest combat rations ever made. It's like poison. Terrible! Ah! To answer the ultimate question, which country's military
I like how absurdly Musk.
Starting with our smallest military of the day, Lithuania. Lithuania
He
may
should
be
have
our
kissed
smallest
him.
military at
I
just
mean,
over
what?
16,000 soldiers, but today we're not comparing based on size. It's all about
Okay,
the food.
here we
This
go.
is their MRE, or meal ready to eat. It is
7,
the
print me
exact
something.
combat ration that soldiers are fed on the battlefield. First time opening a military MRE, I'm actually
Huh?
very excited.
Nothing.
I really have no idea what to expect here. And it looks like we got quite the spread. We have some energy drink powder. Ooh, that is a not very pretty color. Next up, we have some cola bottles, dry roasted peanuts, oat biscuit, got some gum, and what I'm by
Okay.
far most excited about, we have a beef steak bar, which I assume is just like Lithuanian beef jerky. And finally, we have our
Beefsteak
main dish
bar?
right here, which appears to be pasta with beef and sauce. Let's get it cooked up. So this is actually one of the more basic ways to cook an MRE, but as the video goes on, some of these countries use surprisingly advanced technology.
You
This is
open up an
boiling hot
MRE
right
for the
now.
M&Ms.
And just like that, it should be done. That smells like SpaghettiOs. Honestly, it doesn't look very pretty, but per my research, they were basing this dish off a traditional Lithuanian staple called kotletai, which brings us to our control. For each MRE, I'll be making a homemade version of the main dish. In this
What? Wait, this is actually I love this.
Some beautiful
Oh, this is
Lithuanian meatballs
amazing.
To find out how military food from around the world
This is so
actually
cool.
compares to the real deal. It is time for military food number
What
one.
the heck?
Lithuania. Welcome, Chef Rush.
Thank you. Enough talking. I need some protein.
We'll start with the control and then move our way over to the actual MRE. These right here are some
This was
authentic
such a
Lithuanian
cool
meatballs
video
called
idea.
I think I pronounced that right? Typically they're served with sour cream. We'll give it a little dip.
I'm okay with that.
A little salty.
A lot of salt.
If our MRE tastes anything like that, then we're in for a treat. All right, Chef Rush, this is my very first time eating an MRE, and I'm a little bit scared.
You should be. I've actually helped develop MREs in the Pentagon.
So you are a true expert on the matter.
I am.
Before we go in on the mush, why don't we each choose some snacks? I mean, I love beef jerky.
Nope, that's mine. Beef steak.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you on that. I'll take the peanuts. Really spicy, and it definitely has an off flavor.
What is that?
I don't know, something ain't right.
Oh.
I'm very interested in hearing about that beef stick.
Ah.
It kind of looks like ground meat that's been stamped out into a bar. Skanaus. Very dense.
Not very flavorful.
Has a decent
This is so
peppery
cool.
smokiness to
This
it.
is so cool. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just immediately stopped talking.
I'm assuming it's gonna be like a gummy.
But like, this is so cool.
As soon as I bit into it, it just
It's just-
exploded.
Now. They did it wrong. They should have had, like, especially if they've never had the dish before. They should have had, words. They should have had the military, the MRE first. They should have eaten the MRE and been like, oh yeah, no, whatever, like this tastes okay, and then had the real food, because then you'd have this extreme reaction, like the absolute change between that and that. Such a cool idea. I don't know why I have never seen this before, and it makes sense. Like, because then you got to do the cultural food thing, trying food around the world. So you get that level, but then you also have the MRE thing. It's so. I can't do this, though. I have no money. I would love to do this. I would so do this. But I have not enough money for this. So, once we get to a point where I'm, like, streaming full time, then we'll have to come back to this idea. Honestly, thank you for the hydrate. Honestly, I could see myself doing this for myself, not even like streaming it or making content out of it. Just being like, we're going to eat the MRE. Ooh, Karamia, don't give me ideas. Oh, okay. I don't want to watch this anymore. I want to watch this another time because this seems cool and we'll play it at like a normal speed. So one of these days where I just want to kind of chill, we'll do that. I love Calorie Mate. You do not understand how much I love Calorie Mate. There was a brief period of my life, like a month ago, for about a week, where I was trying to convince myself that I could survive off of eating Calorie Mate and one a day vegetable drink to see if I would be healthy off of that. And I'm like, it's enough calories. It's like, yes, but Calorie Mate is meant to substitute a meal. All right, y'all, we're gonna do a little Googling. We're gonna do a Googling. It's meant as like a temporary thing, but here we go. One sec. So Calorie Mate it's been kind of popularized in the States by what's it called? Like Metal Gear and a lot of Japanese games, like modern Japanese games, because Calorie Mate is often eaten there. But it is a like food replacement thing. And nope. Oh, Gene, you were almost about to dox yourself, sweetie. Let's not do that. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, no, I'm gonna look at a Google. Okay, never mind. Here's what we're gonna do instead. That'll work. All right. Calorie Mate. This is Calorie Mate. It is these little cookies. You see them here? And they have like enough calories. About one block of this, I think, is about 1,800 calories. So you could eat 4 of these, or it's like 1,600. You could eat the 4 bars in this, and then take care of your like daily calorie count. They are pretty decently nutritionally balanced. I mean, like they fill up a lot of your daily nutritional values, but you could not only eat this. I like them a lot. Like they're like, some of them are chocolate, some of them are cheese. They're a very lightly sweet cookie, like a little shortbread cookie almost, but not really. And Exactly. And they're like, you can have them like they're had in like the Metal Gear games. So they're pretty popular. And they have the different flavors. I mean, there's this. Lemba spread. Exactly. And like I enjoy them a lot. Like they're pretty good, but you should not only eat these. If you were to do something that you should only like do like something like this, you could get Soylent. Soylent is a like meal replacement shake, and it is actually nutritionally balanced. Not like it's not gonna be like the best thing in the world for you, but if you needed to be broke and eat Soylent, it's okay. Not Soylent Green. Do y'all know? So I don't know how many. Oops, I had the wrong button. I don't know how many of you have actually seen the movie. Do not spoil it. Don't mention anything about Soylent Green. We're not going to give away the big plot twist of Soylent Green. But I don't know how many of you haven't seen Soylent Green. And if you haven't seen Soylent Green, thank you for the follow. 1 second. Thank you. So, Soylent Green is a sci-fi crazy horror thing. That's the thing. No, you might not have seen it, but most people know the plot twist of Soylent Green. When I went to college, I had this roommate, and I was like, hell yeah, you know Soylent Green. He's like, no, what's Soylent Green? I'm like, you don't know the plot twist of Soylent Green? I've never seen it before, but I know the plot twist of Soylent Green. Everybody knows the plot twist of Soylent Green. And so I had him watch it, and his response was amazing. He was like, what? I wonder if we could watch it on stream, or maybe we'll do like a movie night for it. So Soylent Green, here we go. The entire point is like Soylent Green. In the future, there's a food shortage, and they have made these blocks of these bars that are like food replacement bars. They have like Soylent Red, Soylent Blue, I think it was. And like they're all very, simple, cheap ways to get food. They made a new one that has all the nutrients a person needs to eat called Soylent Green. And it was the most popular one, has like the best flavor, and like everybody, or at least that's what I kind of remember. I haven't seen it in a long time. And this is what it described to me. But like basically, the Soylent Green was supposed to be the new bar that had all the nutrients. And something happens, and I can't spoil. Okay, you know what? Fine, we'll do movie nights. We'll have to do on a weekend, and I'll need to make this like we might make this like a bi-weekly thing. So we won't do this every week. We can make this like every other week, because that way I have some evening weekends where I can spend it with some non-stream related things. So yeah, we'll do some movie nights. We'll just have to figure out a way. If I can get like a movie bot, that'd be great, so I don't need to host it. That way I can go in and we can like all watch together on the same screen instead of me sharing it from my screen. But we'll see. I'll look into it, okay? Anyways, we're coming up on the end of stream here, lovelies. Thank you all for staying here just a little bit longer. Oh, yeah, but I kind of... Okay. How about that? We'll do a weekly movie night, and I will come into at least 2 every month. That way, like, we can run it, and everybody can still have them, but I don't need to always be there. Okay? Sound good? Sweet. Okay, we'll do it. Yeah, I mean, we have mod applications open still. I have to review them. We'll see if I can get rid of a few new mods, and that'll be great. All right, lovelies. That's going to be the end. I appreciate y'all coming by today. What's 1917? Sounds cool. Yes, Discord, and do not forget the D-Verify as well. But let's see if we can find somebody to raid. And I'll be looking at my mod suggestions tomorrow, as well as... I think they're doing a mod. Ooh. Do we want to raid somebody new, or do we want to raid somebody we've raided before? How many people do we got today? Who's all here? How many people we got? What's the number looking like? 86? Ooh, that's pretty solid. Okay. Y'all feeling horror, or are we feeling more of like a comedy game, or want to see a collab? Do you want horror? I like the mommy you rated last night. The mommy. Oh, Cha-Cha. Horror? Okay, we'll do a little, we'll raid into this horror game I saw here. Where'd it go? We'll raid the Catboy. You want to see the Catboy? I've been meaning to do a collab with the Catboy for a while, but he's doing Amnesia.
What am I gonna do?
All right. There we go. All right, lovelies. Can we get that raid message? I would really, really appreciate it. Go say hi to Kai. Kai's pretty great. We'll do a collab with the Catboy one day. What is the raid message? Oh, hello. Bye-bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did the raid message come by? Here, we'll see. I think it was it... What's the raid message command? Raids? Is it raid? There it is. All right. There's the raid message. Y'all copy that. Copy it. Paste it. Are you ready? We're going to send you off in 5, 4, 3. Don't forget we're thinking about long-form content, 2. Bye, lovelies. Behave yourselves.